Can you see my ears? I know some of you are probably wondering why she keep wearing these ears. I don't know. I don't understand her. It's Dara. How's everyone doing today? If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Dara K. Fulton, and on this channel we talk all things motivation and some creativity in the mix, as well as my new series Entrepreneur Life, where I talk all things entrepreneurship and online ESL teaching, all the tea basically. And I should note now that there's a special reason why I'm wearing these ears that I'm always wearing in most of my videos, and that's because this month of June made 15 years of me teaching English as a second language. 15 years. June 2005, I walked into a building for an interview. I was fresh out of college. I just finished my associate's degree, and I sat before a woman who was the director of the ESL program at the time. It was part of the AmeriCorps program. If you're familiar, I will definitely leave that up here for you. And she asked me a simple question: can you teach? And I sat there proudly and said, of course I can, not knowing what I was getting myself into, because teaching is very different from tutoring. I tutored at the Writing Center in college. I did private tutoring, and I just thought like I was a boss. I knew what I was doing, and of course, if I can tutor, I can teach, right? Right? No. And I should also mention, during my college years, besides doing those two things, I volunteered at the library working as an adult literacy tutor, which is a little different from ESL. People who can speak English but they have low literacy skills, maybe they're not able to read or write or comprehend certain sentence structures, words, things like that. So it's a little different from ESL. But again, 2005, I walked in like a boss, like, yeah, I can teach, no problem, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Yeah, until I walked in my first class, which, by the way, I came in as a replacement for a former teacher that everybody, all 35 students, loved this teacher. Here I come in just thinking I'm going to take over. And I had one student who sat like this the whole time. It was like, I don't like you, I don't like you, I don't like you. And he was like that pretty much for the whole year of my time being there. And although I did 2 years, but year one, he did not let up on me. So, but I'm happy to say that although the start was very, very challenging, I learned a lot. So just to give you a little backstory, I was an AmeriCorps member for 2 years, from 2005 to 2007, and during that time I worked part-time for a nonprofit organization in Chinatown, New York, and I worked with them for 6 years. And at both jobs, well, I should say at the AmeriCorps program, at this job, I had a chance to wear different hats. At the AmeriCorps, I was a coordinator, I was a teacher trainer, and I also taught ESL night classes as well as weekend classes. I started my career teaching advanced level, level 4 to level 6, and during my time of being with the AmeriCorps, I created both the level 5 and level 6 conversation classes, where I created my own curriculums for both classes and taught both those classes. And I was so proud of that because, you know, I really wanted to continue working with these group of students, even though they were very meow with me in the beginning. But I just believed in their potential so much that I said, we need to have a level 5. And it took a while for everyone to be on board, but finally we got it. And the only request from my director was, if you want it, you have to be the one to teach. I was like, cool. And the same for level 6. The level 6 class was a conversation class. It was focusing on topics of student interest or everyday topics. Some of these topics were more about current events. Some were a bit controversial, but the whole point was to get the students talking using the vocabulary and the grammar that we've previously learned. So it was very interesting to see see the growth and the progress of these students, and I'm so proud of that accomplishment. And I'm even prouder that I had a chance to even do teacher trainings with new teachers who came on board. So I have my share of experiences. And then while I was working for this nonprofit, I also had a chance to work as a job developer. I did workshops to help people look for work. I also was able to help people find jobs and get hired for jobs, as well as to teach English. And I also helped the ESL students with this as well. So it's fair to say that in the earlier part of my career, I was extremely busy. I worked in just about all the boroughs except for Bronx and Staten Island. I've taught morning classes, afternoon classes, night classes, and weekend classes. I worked during the blizzard. I worked during the hottest days of the year. I've done it all. And then after, unfortunately, I lost my job and I had 2 hip surgeries, that's when life became very wishy-washy. But once I got back on my feet and started teaching again, this is when I was introduced to language schools. And that's when everything changed for me, because I had a chance to work with people literally from around the world. And it was great, but it was also very challenging. And I think the challenge compared to when I was working in Chinatown is, at least in Chinatown, majority of the people were from the same country or maybe just different parts of the country, where in the language school, it's pretty much the world. And so a lot of my students, let me say in general, majority of them are great. I mean, there's only been a few instances, and I can say on one hand, where things were a little shaky. But the most part, everyone was very kind and open and just wonderful, wonderful people. But you always have those few where they feel they're here and they can say whatever they want, and they have their stereotypes and prejudices and all that stuff. And that's what became very difficult, because in Chinatown, I was just the black teacher, the only black teacher. And so the only issue was mainly just about why my hair looks different from everyone else's. And, you know, one student even thought that if I touch her, my color would rub off of her. I don't know why, but she felt that way. Or, teacher, why are you so fat? Which, by the way, I have a video which talks about that on this channel, so definitely check it out. The language schools were harder because now I was dealing with administrations where the attitude was just keep them in the classroom and leave me alone. And that's where things became very challenging. I remember telling a former supervisor where we had a huge falling out that I'm not no one's babysitter, I'm here to teach. And the worst part about this story is if you have attitudes like that and then you have students in the classroom on their iPhones like, psh, I pay my tuition, I don't have to listen to you, you know, and what do you know anyway, because you a this or you're a that, or you're not a real teacher and blah, blah, blah. Whew. Let's just say there were several days where I had to make a very strong decision. Either I was going to be professional teacher Dara and handle this as a professional, or I was going to become Brooklyn Dara, you know, and tell you about yourself. You know, there were many days where sometimes certain students would really put me in that place, and it became, let's just say it got real. It got real. And don't get me wrong, when I do that, I don't mean like fighting or nothing like that. The only fight was more about the verbal. And there are times where I had to ask students to leave my classroom. I had to, you know, close my door and say, okay, how you feel about people who look like me is your business on your time. But on my time, you're here to learn English. So you're either going to be here and learn English, or there's the door you can leave. And here's the thing that which I didn't really like, is that when you go through these situations, I know I'm not the only teacher who's been through this, okay? And you don't have the backing of admin to say, okay, we're gonna support you, we're gonna step in and handle it. You know, it's more like this attitude of, well, it's your fault that they said something racial and prejudicial to you. It's like, really? Guess what? I was born this way, so if Mr. Whoever and Miss So-and-so has a problem with my skin color, you're telling me that's my fault? Do I have stories? But I digress. So overall, the journey has been great, but yes, it came with a price, you know. Let me just say, full disclosure, that I am so damn proud, yes, to still be here and do this. And as a black woman, and colorful, proud black woman, I am happier to still be doing this, because I can't tell you how many times people have said to me to my face, okay, you are not a real teacher, you shouldn't be doing this. why aren't you teaching children? Why are you even wasting your time? We don't like teachers like you. We prefer this, we prefer that. You know, how many interviews I've been on, and people look at my resume, who looks different from me, and say, I can't believe you have 3 degrees. How is that possible? Yes, I've actually had that told to me. I even had someone actually look at me and say, you don't fit the image of our school because, you know, I mean, and I said like this, I said, and what does this mean? Basically, she was calling me fat and said I don't fit the qualifications of the image of the school. And here's the other thing. Here's the thing, really just, I had an interviewer at another nonprofit who I was going for an interview for, and just his whole vibe just told me no. And he actually looked at my resume and he said, I bet you don't even know what this means. And it's called DYCD, which means Department of Youth and Community Development. And if you're in New York City and you work in nonprofit, you know what that means. But I digress. He said DYCD and looked at me with this snarkiness like, you don't know. And when I rattled it off, he said, oh, you know about that? I said, yes. Just like I know that every fiscal year they do some RFP for grants and stuff. Just like I know that, you know, they are the overseers when it comes to our budget. Yes, I'm aware of that. I was so livid because he was so prejudicial and he said things that just would make you scream. But all I'm going to say is this. There are times where I want to quit. There are times I said, forget about this. But you know something, friends? When you love what you do, you have to stick it out. And to this day, I'm happy that I'm here to still talk about it. But now, as my own business, now I can do the things I want to do and reach more students and help more people along the way. So if I had to go through all that garbage to get to this point, it was worth it. So that's why I'm feeling happy today, celebrating 15 years of my journey. I want to thank every single person, every teacher, every student, every mentor, everyone who has been on this journey with me, who has showed me love and support. And for a lot of you, I'm still friends with you and in contact with you to this day. Thank you. Because I couldn't have done this without you. And I love each and every one of you. And even for the people who were mean-spirited and said things or just, or you know, fired me because you didn't like my look or you didn't like something about me or whatever. Thank you too, because that made me stronger and that kept me motivated to do what I'm doing today. So I thank you as well. I hold no bitterness in my heart or hold no grudges, but I'll say to everyone out there, even if you're going through it, friends, stick it out. If you're passionate and you love what you do, do it, because I promise you, you will get there. And when you get there, all you can do is sit back and smile and represent your cute little ears. Love you all so much. Happy 15th to yours truly. Always try your best, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, friends. Honestly, we will all be okay. And that's all of this I share with you is the inspiration behind me saying try your best, because there were many days where I wanted to quit so bad and just say forget about it, but I kept telling myself, Dara, try your best. And I started telling my students that, and it really made a difference. So try your best. It's hard, but it's worth it in the end, I promise you. Take care, everyone.